fake stuff and said a lot of stuff that, a person that you claim that you cool with, you would never say. So that was my big issue with him. I just know, character take you a long way. And I just I just don't agree with the character, actions that he took.
The problem is Terence Crawford now is really only going to want a fight for big money, and there's only certain fights that can generate that kind of money.
Terence Crawford lashed out at Floyd Mayweather after leaked sparring footage surfaced, saying he didn't like how Floyd handled things. Crawford said he expected more respect from someone who calls himself a friend. He shared his anger and disappointment that private training moments were made public, saying this kind of move shouldn't come from another champion.
I had disliked a lot of things that he was saying, and how he was acting, being that, me, I'm a real individual. I just felt like, we was all cool at one point in time. And, when the Errol Spence fight was getting mentioned and talked about and, signed, I just felt like he just did a lot of fake stuff and said a lot of stuff that, a person that you claim that you cool with, you would never say. So that was my big issue with him. I just know, character take you a long way. And I just don't agree with the character, actions that he took.
Eddie Hearn's suggestion that Crawford should retire shows how divided boxing fans are about his next step. Hearn respects that Crawford's legacy is already secure. He's ruled multiple weight classes, beaten top fighters, and proven he's one of the greats. Retiring now would protect that image forever, like past legends. But Hearn also knows money talks. With Saudi investment and big crossover events taking over boxing, Crawford could earn massive paydays even in non-legacy fights. Hearn understands the pull between legacy and financial security better than most.
Sorry?
Should Crawford retire?
Do you know what? Someone said the other day, and it's very true, because I actually said it about Usyk. We've got a real tendency, haven't we, to kind of try and retire people off. Do you know what I mean? Like I said with Usyk, I think now he should retire. And everyone's like, why do you want him to retire? It's like, I just think it's a great way to go out. I actually also think that Crawford could move down and win a world title at 160. And that would make him, what, 6 division champ? 5? 35, 40, 47, 54, 6 division champion. But the problem is Terence Crawford now is really only going to want a fight for big money, and there's only certain fights that can generate that kind of money. So Shakur, he was obviously very close to him, seemed to say, so maybe that's it.
Floyd Schofield thinks Terence Crawford should retire while he's on top. He says Crawford has already done everything great fighters aim for, becoming pound-for-pound king, winning titles in many divisions, and beating the best. Schofield isn't doubting Crawford's skills but warns that fighting longer could bring unnecessary risks. If Crawford fights again, Schofield says it should be against hungry young boxers like Virgil Ortiz or Frank Martin. He respects Crawford deeply, saying his legacy is already complete and retiring now would keep it perfect.
So I feel like Crawford, he could retire if he wants. I feel like if he does get another fight, I would love to see him in there with Virgil or Gervonta. I feel like those are both great fights, but those are fights we just got to see. We just got to see those fights before. I feel like those are the only 2 fights I would entertain.
Not a rematch? Maybe a rematch with Crawford and Canelo?
I feel like it wasn't close enough.
Really?
If it was close, maybe, but it just was like, it wasn't close.
Fans continue to argue online about a dream fight between prime Floyd Mayweather and prime Terence Crawford. Both mastered boxing in their eras. Floyd's defense and ring IQ were unmatched, while Crawford's ability to adapt and finish fights is elite. But the truth is, Floyd is no longer in his prime and can't move like he used to. A fight today would be more for show than a real test. That's why fans call it a fantasy matchup, something that will stay a dream.
So yeah, everybody, so this is a good question that the ring put out. So Terence Crawford versus Floyd Mayweather, a fantasy fight that will never happen. Now, this is a really good question. Who will win between these two? Me personally, if this was old Floyd Mayweather, well, I'm going to say pretty boy Floyd, I'm talking about like the younger version of Floyd Mayweather wins. You're talking probably prime Floyd Mayweather versus prime Terence Crawford. You could see Floyd Mayweather beating Terence Crawford, but you're talking about money Floyd versus Terence Crawford. I see Terence Crawford stopping him in the later rounds due to Floyd Mayweather's passive style and Philly shell. I believe he'll melt. Terence Crawford would just break him, I think. People forget what Manny Pacquiao was able to do on Floyd Mayweather, have success with him certain parts of the fight, and people just need to see, Floyd Mayweather's, I would say, fights, later down the years. I think Crawford would just be able to break that defense. I don't know. The thing is about Terence Crawford, he has a very, very awkward style, very awkward foot movement and footwork. This is the thing. A lot of people were thinking, no, nobody beats Floyd. Or if you try to compare somebody else, no, this man will beat Floyd. Floyd would beat everybody. I don't think it's a case of Terence Crawford, everybody. I think Terence Crawford would have been the man to actually beat Floyd. Honestly, for what he did to Canelo Alvarez, he beat a 168 Canelo Alvarez. 168 Canelo Alvarez.
Experts say that records and stats don't always decide who's greater in a direct matchup. Floyd's 50-0 record and long unbeaten run are historic, while Crawford became undisputed in multiple divisions, something Floyd never did. Comparing them is tough because they fought in different times. Floyd's career had global names and huge pay-per-views, while Crawford's wins are dominant and clean. Analysts say being more accomplished on paper isn't the same as being the better fighter. It depends on style, timing, and context.
Floyd Mayweather versus Terence Crawford is the topic of this video, and someone posted this: number of world champion fighters beaten, Floyd with 23, Terence with only 11. But my response to this is, being more accomplished does not mean you're better than someone. By example, Canelo has 18 former world champions beaten, Terence has 11. So you could argue that Canelo's more accomplished. Meanwhile, Terence just whooped him over the course of 12 rounds over the weekend. We all saw it. Plus, more accomplished fighters lose to lesser accomplished fighters all the time, so that's a bad argument. Let's talk skill for skill. Terence Crawford has knockout power in both hands. He can switch stances. He's not a stationary target. He has good footwork. He knows how to counterpunch. He knows how to fight on the outside and on the inside. He can make it dirty. He knows how to box and he knows how to fight. There's a difference. Guys like Shakur Stevenson, for example, they know how to box. When it comes to actually getting down and dirty, the jury is still out on one Shakur Stevenson, just by example. Terence Crawford, I think, if you look at the names on Floyd's list here, Manny Pacquiao, Canelo, Marcos Maidana, Cotto, and the list goes on and on, I think Terence Crawford has a shot at beating all those guys. I don't think anybody on that list jumps off the page and goes, oh my God, I think he smokes Terence Crawford. You can't say that about anybody on any of these guys' lists and names here. So yeah, that's my take on this, man. Maybe the only guy is Gennady Golovkin. I could see Gennady Golovkin giving Terence a really hard fight, especially at that weight. But remember, Canelo lost to Gennady. Gennady shouldn't even be on this list. He's only on the list because the judges are in Canelo's back pocket. So, that's a whole nother argument. But yeah, that's my take on this, guys. Skill for skill, Terence Crawford might be one of the best of all time, and that's okay. It's okay to accept that, guys. It's fine. Let me know what you think in the comments below, whether you agree or disagree. It doesn't matter. Just join the discussion, subscribe for more, and leave a like if you enjoyed the time spent. Thank you. You are all appreciated.
Zab Judah's opinion matters because he has faced Mayweather himself. He says Crawford is the best of today's generation, showing that every era has its star. Judah even reminded people that Canelo Alvarez once said Crawford might be better than Floyd, sparking huge debate. For Judah, Crawford's ability to dominate across weight classes proves his all-around skill. Unlike others who lose power when moving up, Crawford stayed sharp, strong, and calm. Judah's praise feels like passing the torch. Floyd ruled his time, and now Crawford does.
Punch to knock him out, you know what I'm saying? The size would be a factor. None of that was nothing.
How did you score it?
Huh?
How did you score the fight?
I think I gave Canelo about 3 rounds. About
Really?
3 rounds. Yeah, about 3
Yeah.
rounds. How did you score? You just score about sound about fair?
What's that?
Sounds about right?
I had it closer, but there's loads of different scores.
Okay, 2 rounds.
You gave him 2 rounds.
I had 2 rounds. Yeah, he ain't do anything. I gave him a possible 3 rounds. So if I play space, we gave him 2 and a possible.
Where's you put him in the all-time list? 5-weight world champion, 3-weight undisputed, Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford.
He's number 1 right now. He's number 1. This is his generation. This is his timeline. He is the king right now.
Just seen in the press conference, Canelo said that Crawford's better than Mayweather. What did you think?
He's not lying. He fought him. He should know. How can somebody tell somebody that fought both of these guys, that, he know.
Yeah.
If anybody would know, Canelo would know.
What do you think's next for both?
I don't know.
Too early? You'd like to see a rematch?
Rematches always sound good. But in a rematch, it'll be the same thing.
Yeah. Cool.
Matter of fact, in a rematch, I'm predicting stoppage earlier.
Yeah. I think so too.
Yeah, I think so.
What's up?
My boy's the dog.
Sure.
Trust me.
Thank you.
I was watching Mill City.
Crawford said Canelo's view means more than fans' opinions because Canelo has faced both men. But he also explained that the situations were very different. Floyd fought Canelo when he was young and still learning, while Crawford faced him as a mature, experienced champion. This difference in timing matters. Crawford believes beating a seasoned Canelo is not the same as Floyd beating a young one. He used this point to defend his own victory, while still respecting Floyd's legacy.
He was in the ring with both of us, so a lot of people, they can say what they want, but he's actually been in the ring with both of us. One where he felt like he was at the best, and another where he felt like he was at a disadvantage when he had a rehydration clause and he was younger. So, I don't know, I don't go off of that. Floyd is the best fighter, in his era, and I feel like I'm the best fighter in my era.
One thing that I thought was really interesting about the fight, I always love watching you switch stances as effortlessly as you do. You didn't do that a lot in this fight. You didn't have to. Were you expecting not to have to?
No, I felt like I could have, but why do something when something else is working?
Easy answer.
Jeff Mayweather defended Floyd by saying people forget the full story. When Floyd fought Canelo, he was already past his physical prime and relied more on timing and experience than speed. Even then, he completely outclassed a young and dangerous opponent. Jeff says comparing that fight to Crawford's version of Canelo is unfair. Both were at very different stages. His point is that fans often ignore context when rewriting boxing history.
Well, also if we remember, Canelo at that time was a razor-thin decision. Floyd won, majority decision. C.J. Ross had it with what a lot of people had as a draw. And then the other 2 judges scored it for Floyd, of course. And that was a Floyd at the top of his game with a very green Canelo with very little experience, and he still took him, into deep waters. So
what was Canelo? What, 20-something? 20 what? 23, 25?
Yeah, he was. Very, very young in the game,
Very
obviously.
Young, very young. He had more fights than Floyd, and he lost.
Yeah,
to a man that was 30-something years old, 36.
But Floyd was clearly at the top of his career, and Canelo had fought a lot of people. But
How you at the top of your career in your prime? You in your prime? You ain't in your prime when you're at 36. That's not your prime.
Did he lose? I mean,
your prime is in your 20s.
It's different for different people.
Yeah, okay. Well, so, and that's why Canelo is saying what he's saying.
But,
want to make himself look like he did something great.
Trainer Buddy McGirt praised Crawford's performance, saying he controlled everything: the pace, the distance, and the exchanges. He never let Canelo set the rhythm, something many others failed to do. McGirt said this control reminded him of how Floyd used to outthink opponents. But Crawford added aggression and killer instinct. To him, Crawford's win wasn't just another victory. It proved he belongs among the greatest technical fighters ever.
Yes. Like, what fight were they watching? Right. I mean, it's. I don't know, man. I don't know what some of these guys be doing in this game, man. Some people, in situations like that, they should ask them, listen, just turn in your license, bro. Because there's no way in hell the fight was that close.
Right.
I mean, come on, man. It's just, it's not fair. It's not fair. You get a guy like Terence got here and dominate from beginning to end, and then you find out he needed the last 2 rounds to win. That's scary, man.
It is. And you see how you just mentioned scary. Now, a lot of people are saying, buddy, that type of beating, nah, he's not gonna want a rematch. But looking at those scorecards and knowing that, hey, you wasn't too far behind, even though, he did mention that, he's better than Mayweather. But I mean, what's your thoughts? Do you feel like that was such a beating that Canelo wouldn't want a rematch?
No, I think that, in all honesty, personally, I think that Canelo's at that stage in his career right now, that it's a rematch he don't need. He don't need it. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? What we saw that night, that's the stage Canelo's at right now. I mean, he's fought everybody, he's did everything, but you know what I mean? He passed the torch to the right guy.
Mm.
You know what I mean? He passed the torch to the right guy. You know what I mean? He lost it to Terence fair and square, and he passed the torch. So if you're gonna have another fight, cool, but you don't need to. You have nothing. He has nothing to prove. He fought Terence and nobody else would.
Analysts say Mayweather's fame came not only from his skill, but also from how he sold himself. As both hero and villain, fans watched him either to admire him or hope he'd lose. His undefeated streak became legendary. Crawford, by contrast, isn't a huge pay-per-view star. But experts say that doesn't reduce his skill. Some even think Crawford might be more talented, switching stances easily, managing distance, and finishing fights with precision. Floyd was defensive and cautious, while Crawford is smart yet aggressive, making him equally great, but more exciting to watch.
Terence Crawford versus Floyd Mayweather Jr. Who wins this fight? I'm going with Terence Crawford, and I don't think that's unpopular or crazy to say. I think most people will agree with me. I understand Floyd Mayweather has a lot of fans out there, but the truth is, as great as Floyd Mayweather is, Terence Crawford is one of one. And I say that because who else has knockout power in both hands, is able to switch stances between orthodox and southpaw so seamlessly while having great footwork? It's not like Terence Crawford is some stationary target or a flat-footed fighter that's going to be chasing Floyd around. Terence Crawford knows how to cut the ring off. He has tremendous ring IQ. And not only is he a great boxer, but he's a great fighter. He'll be able to make it dirty. If he is on the inside with Floyd, that power will carry him far. And I just don't see how Floyd will be able to beat a Terence Crawford. I really don't see it. I understand Floyd's defense is incredible, but he is smaller than Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford would have a significant reach advantage on Floyd Mayweather. I believe Terence Crawford would also be taller than Floyd Mayweather, as well as all the skillful and technical aspects of what I just laid out prior. So I don't understand how anybody could pick Floyd Mayweather to beat Terence Crawford. Styles make fights, and I believe Terence has the style to beat one Floyd Mayweather. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Whether you agree or disagree, it doesn't matter. Join the discussion, subscribe for more, and leave a like if you enjoyed the time spent. Thank you. You are all appreciated.